Welcome back to
the Venus Report. Hey guys.
We need a theme song soon, and I'll make that with my music.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's do that.
Well, maybe you all listened to our previous podcast about the transits. That was cool. There's a lot happening, and right now it's March 3rd.
Yep, we are 4 days out from Saturn entering Pisces.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to talk about. I think we want to kind of make this kind of themed with Saturn, but flow into any other conversation that comes up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've been really just like, I think about Saturn a lot. And I don't know, it's because of that I just went through my Saturn return and I'm like closing it out.
Yeah.
And just that Saturn's moving into Pisces this month, which is like a big deal. And it's definitely going to be a shift.
Yeah. I think about Saturn. You know what I love about Saturn is, I think I may have heard this from one of my favorite astrologers, Adam Allenboss, but he explained how Saturn is like quite literally can be seen as the opposite of the sun. And like when you think about the sun and Saturn, it's like they can be seen as like not opposites, but in a way, like when Saturn is anywhere in your chart, it really represents like the opposition of things, maybe like about your identity and things like that. And I like thinking of it in that way because it makes a lot of sense to me. Even though the moon is the opposite of the sun, technically, I find there's a lot of similarities with Saturn and the moon too.
Yeah, I feel like the energy of like coldness is like the opposite of the sun, obviously. And the moon is cold, and so is Saturn, right? And it like has these rings, and it's like super desolate. And never been there, but I know a guy. No, but yeah, like it's definitely opposite in nature. I feel like the sun is like energetic and vitality, and Saturn is like time and like. Yeah, we can definitely get into what Saturn is, but like I don't know. For me,
let's talk about lately, and like the transits lately, and just like how you've been feeling lately, and
yes, that's a good place to start, and then we'll go back and forth, and then we'll see where it takes us. Lately, I've been just noticing as I'm coming out of my Saturn return, because I have Saturn in Aquarius, so it's leaving Aquarius now and it's entering Pisces. Like the lessons that Saturn have imposed on me have been those of like the time it takes to accomplish something that feels really satisfying, and like how determination and discipline has been like my magic wand, or just like something that is actually getting me towards the things I want. And discipline is like showing up every day and doing the things it takes. And I feel like Saturn has just imposed this like understanding of how much time things that are worthwhile take. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm somebody who's a little bit like, like impatient. I don't know, maybe like but throughout these past 2 to 3 years is just about how long Saturn takes to like move through. So my Saturn return, I guess, was like this past 2 years. And like, I have really just like hunkered down and like done things for my business and my life, and patience, determination, discipline. Those things have just been like, like weaved into my life in a way that feels really good. Like it feels really awesome. Yeah. And I'm actually making strides and like moving the needle, if you will, towards things that I really want in life, working with people in certain ways. And so that is what I'm really feeling lately. And like I was saying to you, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you notice like a evident difference between now and before your Saturn return.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Like this past 2 years have been probably the most transformational of my life.
But is it like tangible things? But like you saying, it's like it's more just kind of responsibility and the things that you've learned kind of in yourself. So that's what I'm always curious about with Saturn, because it is like earthy, but it's like you don't. I feel like the things that Saturn teaches you aren't obviously material. It's more like lessons and like
it's not like I mean, things came into my life, but it's not like tangible stuff yet.
But this also happened in your second house too, so I'm like,
yeah,
that's why I ask too.
So like my theme, like my flavor of my Saturn return, and just so people know, Liz is gonna go through her Saturn return. She has Saturn and Pisces, so like I've already went through mine, or just coming out, and Liz is just entering hers. So that's a really cool perspective. But like,
and it makes sense because we're like 2.5 years apart.
Yeah, and the flavor of mine was Aquarius in the second house. So Aquarius and second house, which is Taurus, but it's also like values and money and finances. So for me, big lessons around money, finances, what my values are, how I live my values, and like how my connection to spirit is like interwoven with my life and what I do in my life. But the changes I've noticed are just it's an internal sense of determination and like solidness. Like I feel so solid in my actions and my discipline practices with whatever it may be, like my money, my business, blah, blah, blah. And I literally feel like Saturn aged me like a fine wine. Like I said before, like that's the energy it brings. Like whatever flavor it's moving through, it will age you in a really good way, in a beautiful way, not like age you like you get wrinkly and gross. It's like you're aging, you're distilling down.
You're maturing. You're
distilling, and you're like releasing toxins, and you're becoming your pure essence. That's how I feel like it's expressed for me. And I did want to say something else about what we were talking about this week, like creative process, and then we can go on to your share.
Yeah.
Like the creative process for me has always been really interesting, and I've been really like noticing what mine looks like. And what I've been noticing this week's particularly is that social fucking media is so distracting for me. And because I have Saturn and Pisces, and because of who I am,
You mean Saturn and Aquarius?
Be just because of. Anyways, I have always been connected to the discourse of the collective, of what's going on online, and I feel like I need to be connected to it to like understand where I fit in society. I just feel comfortable when I'm connected to social media, when I'm connected to seeing what people I don't know are doing, and people I know, but mostly people I don't know. Because it's not more important, but I'm just like, what is the collective like movement or gestalt? Where is it headed? And this week I've been like, okay, if I desire to like be a creative and put out work that's meaningful, I need to put my head down. I need to stop looking around in other people's lanes to see what they're doing and then like morph mine into something. Like that is a huge pattern for me. And I'll just say that.
How bizarre. Yeah. How bizarre is it that like I actually noticed this the other night. I'm like sitting on the couch with Christian and we're like both looking at our phones. But I like had this thought of like, okay, well like we're literally watching people do and be humans in the world. Like we're literally like watching somebody do what we like not want to do especially, but like we just are watching people do what they would do as a normal human. And it's just like, it's just kind of funny because it's like,
it is.
Eventually, you as a person have to have boundaries, which is Saturn 9, right?
Yes.
You have to have boundaries with taking action and like absorbing information. And since 2020, I've had like, that's been a huge annoying frustration and theme in what I do with like the business ideas that I have. And because they're ideas, or they started as ideas, I didn't know how to like conceptualize them into reality. So I would just like keep them as concepts and like go to social media because social media is conceptual. And I was like, cool, this is where it will all live. But then it was like, and then it's like no action is being taken.
God.
So it's like nothing develops and nothing matures. And it's like just this, yeah. I feel like social media and like Aquarius, Saturn energy, the shit that you have, it's like very much like you might have lessons around boundaries when it comes to social networking, like community, like being attentive to what the collective is going through. So
yes, like that was my lesson. And you know what else is interesting? I have Mercury conjunct Pluto in my 11th house. So the house that Aquarius rules, I have Mercury and Pluto next to each other, which creates this like, I want to talk, I want to communicate, like in a collective
and you
sense.
want like transformative communication.
Yeah, I want to talk about how things change. I want to listen to how things change. And that to me is interruptive to my creative process. That's what I've realized is like when I'm constantly looking in other people's lanes, I don't have the bandwidth to let something come up from within and believe that it's worthy of showing. But you know what's funny is that the people that I'm looking at who are the most inspiring to me currently, which somebody on Substack who I love, who I'll share, her name is Anna Fusco. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she shares beautiful insights and art on Substack, which is writing, like a writing
cool
platform. But the people that inspire me the most are the people that literally say out loud that they take breaks from social media regularly. And then here I am, not taking any structured break from social media, looking at these people and being really inspired by their work in a way where I'm like, I need to express my art, my expression in that way, because I know that will feel, something will come up from me and it will feel amazing, for lack of a better word. And my work will be seen. And the people that I admire the most are the ones who are like taking time off social media and then coming back, sharing, and not getting too involved in like what everybody else is doing and comparing themselves.
That is the trick.
You know?
That is the trick. That is the trick. You can't get involved in like any, not involved, but well, involved isn't even the right word. Like it's you shouldn't even be getting involved in like other people's stuff. But yeah, like if you are passionate about what somebody else is doing, it's hard not to get involved. And you obviously can engage in ways that like claim that you are involved, like subscribing to somebody or things like that. But yeah, there's like this thing, and I was thinking in my head, you said Mercury, Pluto conjunct in your 11th house. That's right across from the 5th house. Do you have anything in your 5th house? But that is like, that's what Pisces. I mean. Like your creative prices. Wait, Pisces rules your 5th house?
Oh, no. Taurus. Sorry.
I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't have any planets there, do you?
No planets there.
Yeah. So maybe it's just like Mercury and Pluto's energy, like affecting directly your creative process.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I love that axis of the 11th and 5th house, because it speaks to what we're talking about right now is like the creativity and play of the 5th house, Leo energy, like expression through your heart and being courageous to express what's coming through you, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Is at odds, or not at odds, but there's a connection between like the collective and what the collective movement discourse is, conversations are. And it's like, does your 5th house hide underneath all the things because it's afraid of being seen and, you know, the work that you're doing not being relevant? Or do you like integrate that 11th house, 5th house axis and you're like, I'm going to create and then share and then create and then share and then take in other people's work in a really like organized way and not like overly boundaryless. Pisces.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also feel like with your Mercury Pluto placement, that's a really like that's potentially a really transformational spot for you. So like it probably would be beneficial to take like really structured breaks from the social thing and integrate it into like the fifth house Leo energy, which like you said, the axis of Aquarius and Leo. I always get confused because I really love thinking of things in like duality, which I know like can sometimes just be a little bit too like we're humans and we like to define things as this.
Good or
like
bad.
right. But like yeah, Aquarius and Leo are both very almost like outward in ways. Yes, they're like there's the times of year are complete opposite, but it's almost like two different ways of being outward. Like Aquarius is very kind of like, it's like the inward outward. Like we're going to go in technology and be outward there. But like Leo is just more like, let's be outward as humans and like love
Connect heart to heart.
And heart to hearts. And yeah. But.
And you have, your IC is in Aquarius. So the bottom of your chart. And then the top of your chart, your MC is Leo. So like the way I see that is like, we already talked about this, I think, before, but like when you spend time alone and like in your home, it's like Aquarian energy is present. And when you express that into the world, there's this sense of like connecting heart to heart, that like Leo playfulness that you can like access. So something I would say, like if I were to like look at your chart right now and like give you a forecast for your Saturn return, your Saturn, your Saturn is in the fifth house, which is Leo energy, right? But your fifth house is ruled by Pisces because you have Saturn in Pisces. So looking at just the connection of where your Saturn is, it's in the fifth house. And then where is that fifth house energy? Oh, it's on the MC, which is like, could be seen as career. It could be seen as your legacy, how you're seen out in the world. So I feel like this next 2 to 3 years for you, depending on where Saturn is in your chart. Is it early?
Saturn is in the fifth house.
Is it early?
Oh, it's
early
24
Pisces?
degrees.
Oh. Okay,
no,
so
it's later. I'm going to have like, and yours is actually, your Saturn is at like 27 degrees Aquarius or something?
I don't remember. Oh, I think it's at like 11 or something.
Oh, okay. So you kind of went through it early. I'm going to go through it probably in the next, like at the tail end of 2.5 years from now.
I'm definitely out of it. Like, I think it's at 11 degrees. But anyways, when Saturn comes to that 24th degree, like there's going to be this energy of like, all right, it's in the fifth house, it's in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces will have its own thing. But then in your specific chart, I feel like the way that you express through your business and what you're doing for work, which is like a lot of, again, independence is like a big theme, and like decentralization, like you said before, and art and giving people their platform. Or expression. It's like you're giving people the platform, but then your Saturn is like giving you the platform to express and move through the lessons of your Saturn return, because it's going to be around play and creativity and how you express creativity through your career. And you're going to like learn some boundaries and some lessons about like, what is it that I want to share with people regarding my heart, my real creative passion. Does that make sense? Like I just feel like connection.
Yeah.
Of
no,
like
that
Leo,
definitely makes sense.
Leo energy and Saturn energy.
Yeah. Yep.
Then Pisces will just bring in this like intuitive flow to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought about the fact that Leo rules my MC and how the fifth house is Leo. And it's like you could also look at like the sun. I mean, like you're reading that very much how I would too. And like then I'm thinking about, okay, well, Capricorn, that's Saturn. Capricorn rules my third house. So like my environment might change over that, and like
Oh yeah. So I didn't, just like looking back, like I'm Saturn ruled because I'm a Capricorn rising.
Right.
And Saturn return was in Aquarius.
But that was definitely hitting your first house. I would say that was like, especially because
Yeah.
the first house and like Capricorn ascendant, your Saturn return, if you're a Capricorn ascendant, is always going to be very like
It was big. Yeah.
transformative. Yeah.
Because I'm a Saturn ruled person, the Saturn return was like so palpable for me,
Yeah.
which I would love to like see if other people resonate with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Aquarius. And then, but also it's like Aquarius is anciently ruled by Saturn. So then Saturn's like in Aquarius. And then it's like you really can just look at Capricorn and Uranus. But like, it's mainly, I feel like it was mainly just like a hyperactive placement for a couple years
It
there.
was hyperactive. It was definitely like very megaphone, like amplified.
Yeah. So I think this is a cool time to maybe talk about kind of what is coming in 4 days, which is Saturn's entrance into Pisces. And like some of the people who have Saturn in Pisces, some of the events that have happened in Saturn in Pisces. And yeah, just talk through it. Just kind of like riff on all of that.
Yeah.
What do you
love
think?
to. I would love to do that. Yeah. So it's happening on the 7th, which is also a full moon. I have your calendar up here. There's a full moon too.
Oh, cool.
On the 7th.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big day. Mm-hmm. So
I love the March month. I love that photo. I can't even
me
believe,
too.
like,
I know, it's a really good photo.
it's cool.
In good old Kingston.
Kingston. Shout out to Kingston.
Shout out
Sanborn
Kingston,
Regional. Cool. I guess, like, what I would, I basically, just to get, like, the vibe of Saturn and Pisces, right?
Yeah.
I really, really love interpreting, this kind of thing through people. And the reason being is because, when you know Saturn represents kind of like the structures and the foundations of somebody and like maybe where and how they express that through their work, right?
Yeah.
I find that obviously celebrities is like just a cool way to kind of see it because you see them in all different like, especially if they're an actor, you can see them in all different kinds of like environments. And I wrote some people down that I would love to just share because it's just really interesting. So, Helena Bonham Carter has Saturn in Pisces, and she is, she was in Sweeney Todd with Johnny Depp. Like, just that dark, like, very artistic, kind of quirky energy comes out with her acting. I won't go on spiels for everybody, but, like, I just found that to be a little symbolic. Surprisingly, Adam Sandler
Adam
has Saturn in
Sandler has
Pisces.
Saturn in Pisces?
Yeah. And you know what I did when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is a little off from what I would think, but when you think about it, he is extremely versatile, which is like a Pisces thing. In his, and he can get, he like through comedy, he gets to like this kind of like core thing with people. And like, I feel like a lot of people find him like, some people don't like him. I fucking love him.
I love him.
But I love him. But like, he just has a way of like making comedy his like way of like he really is like an authority figure in terms of comedy.
Oh my God.
And like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? He's like, he can transmute energy in that way, which is Pisces to me.
Yeah, and his comedy is very existential because it's so silly,
Yeah.
but it's so existential.
And he like I'm sure you've seen Click. I think we watched it together when we were young.
Yeah, it's like
Do you remember how sad that movie is?
Sad, yeah.
But he doesn't get sad by it. Like you feel like in those moments where like in that movie you're just like, oh my God, like I fucking love him, he's so funny, but like he's going through shit right now. But like he never like batters an eye. Like he's
His
just like
character,
very
yeah.
solid. And I feel like that kind of comes out. John Cusack, Pisces, Saturn.
Wait,
I fucking love John Cusack.
John Cusack.
John Cusack.
Yes.
He's in 1408. He's in like Room 1408, that haunted movie. He's in Adult World. It's just some movies.
There's also a Joan Cusack.
Oh, really?
Joan Mary Cusack, and she talks like that. Yes, there's
Joan Mary Cusack. Oh, yes. That's her. That's his sister.
Yeah, Joan Cusack.
That's John Cusack's sister. I found that out. I was like, whoa, they're brother and sister. And then I looked at their faces and I was like, wow, it actually makes sense.
Oh, that's funny.
Joan and John? What the hell? Why would you name your son
Why?
and daughter Joan? Anyway.
Sherilyn
Fenn, who is on Twin Peaks. Who fucking retweeted
By the way,
me.
Sherilyn Fenn retweeted Liz's clip of her Twin Peaks room. Just
yes. And
she's awesome.
who is what? Yeah, she's
Audrey Horne
dope.
on Twin Peaks.
Audrey Horne on Twin Peaks. I just thought that was interesting. Like, she's known for this scene in Twin Peaks where they're at this diner. It's like, think of like old diner with girls wearing girls who are serving wearing blue dresses and everyone's wearing red lipstick. And Audrey goes up to the jukebox and she plays this really ethereal, jazzy, like uplifting, but also like jazzy and mysterious song. And she plays it and she looks at her, at like a, not even a friend, but a girl that she goes to school with, and just looks at her in the eye and she's like, I just love this music, and just does this weird dance.
I remember that.
That's like what she's known for. She's known for that. Like, it's called like Audrey's Dance. Like, there's a song by it. There's like an episode. Like, it's just, so I just thought that was cool. Like, music, dance, art being a little bit ethereal and dreamlike. Pisces, right?
Yeah, totally.
And she's known for that. So it's kind of interesting. Last couple people, Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock. I just thought their vibe, you can kind of like, you can sense the Saturnian thing. Like, they're both very, like, you take them seriously, right? Like, if you saw Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock in a room, you would be like, okay, whoa, like, I have to, like, if I'm going to talk to them, I'm going to be, like,
Reeves,
serious. Yeah. Keanu Reeves is very intimidating. If I saw him, like, I don't even know, his Matrix shit, I'd be like,
yeah, I don't even know.
See you later. But yeah, just kind of like getting a vibe. Like, I just found it to be really cool that everyone has this kind of, like, I'm looking at all their photos right now and it's just funny. Like, they just all have this, like, a little bit dark. Adam Sandler, still a little bit of a trip for me. I might have to look into his chart to see, like, if he has something, like, a little bit more strong than his Saturn and Pisces. Maybe it's just not in, like, a strong aspect or something. But, like, everyone here has this, like, vibe that's very artistic, a little bit dark and structured, like, almost stoic. And are, like, known for being in things that, like, have, well, Keanu Reeves in, what is it called? I just said it. What's the movie? Matrix. Matrix is all about Pisces energy, right?
Oh
it's
God.
just like, if you've seen it, it's like the most Pisces you could probably get.
Yeah.
And he's obviously well known for that. So that's some of the people I got.
Wow.
Did you get any people?
No, I didn't look up any people.
Okay. But you looked up some, like, events and stuff?
No.
Okay. I have so much written here. I don't know why I went on a tangent last night. I was like, oh my God, this all makes sense.
Well, what do you feel like Saturn and Pisces, like, what will this look like? Well, first,
yeah,
those people will be going through their Saturn return, their second Saturn returns.
Right.
That's
wow.
so funny.
Oh my God, are all of them like 60?
They're all turning about 60. That's so crazy.
Oh, that's weird.
Adam Sandler is 60 almost? Wow.
Yeah, and now that I'm looking at it, everyone was born between 1964 and 1966. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, so everybody goes through, like, at least 2 Saturn returns in their life. So that's so interesting. I feel like, I just feel like Saturn and Pisces will be like, I mean, from air to water, and like Saturn does doesn't necessarily do well, right? It's fall?
Yeah. So, I don't know if it has a specific thing like that. It might. I would have to like think about it for a second. But
I think it might be in its like detriment or fall or something in Pisces.
yeah, well, if you think about the opposite, it's typically like if it's well,
Or
Saturn is in its Saturn is I think in its fall. I thought in Leo. I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
We'll have to look that up. But I found that there's so many themes. So when you think about it, this is just a really cool thing that I like figured out with Saturn and Pisces. So obviously the cycle is almost 30 years. It's like 28 to 30 years is Saturn's cycle. So if Saturn is entering Pisces now, the last time it was here was the 90s. That's 30 years ago. Before that, it was there in the 60s. And before that, it was there in the 30s. And I was reading this article last night that kind of really put everything into perspective. Like, when you think about it, in the 30s, there was a huge revolution around, like, fascism and, like, Hitler becoming a thing, communism, and, like, things that, like, really revolutionized, and the common word is destabilized.
Oh,
Kind of like the
I
powers
totally
that
see
be.
that. It's like a wave
Okay.
of ocean water coming over the walls of society.
Yeah. So, okay, so it's like in the 30s, it was kind of like the destabilizing theme was taking things down, right? It wasn't like building things up. It was more like taking down the structures, right? It was like, okay, we want to have this power that nobody else has had before. We're going to like come up with like new ways of like
New rules and laws.
of identifying what side you're on politically. Like that's right. And it was
Yeah,
all
and
about
who
what do
can
you
live and
believe in?
who can live and who can die, basically.
Right. Like, what do you believe in? What side are you on? Because these are all new. It was like a breakthrough. It was like, here was like the limit that everyone has ever like known. And like Saturn and Pisces was like, we're going to make this new thing. We're going to break it down. Right.
Yeah, totally.
Now in the 60s, it was building it back up. It was destabilizing it again, but it was building up boundaries because it was all about racism and it was all about things that were like, it's like they were building more rules like around, they were making things very destabilized in that way because obviously like that's not equal, right? And it was like destabilizing in that way, but they were building it up. And then I noticed in the 90s, it was once again breaking it down again because in the 90s, it was all about the internet. So it was like we're now again coming through a breakthrough in that thing that I was talking about of what we've known in the 90s. It was like, okay, the internet, like and networking. This is a whole new way of thinking, very similar to the 30s, like a whole new thing. So it's like it was destabilizing in that way where it was like breaking that down. So if it's going to follow in this pattern of breaking things down and building things back up, I have a weird feeling that it's going to be building things back up right now.
Building things back up in a way of like making new rules.
Or setting boundaries. Because when you think about it, like the internet right now, it's just like and like AI and like the things that are like going to happen and like the globe, like humanity, things don't like, I just feel like things are a little bit in need of like destabilizing to build a boundary in some way of like, let's not have AI take over the world because we just thought that like it would make things better. Or like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel that coming, like some sort of boundary, and like maybe even it's caring about the globe more. Like we're setting boundaries for the globe and like for the goodness of like sustainability and things like that. Like I feel like that could be a thing. And I have some quotes here if you want me to read. So this was an article that was like, she outlined all of this. Her name is Lynn Bell. And she actually went on to say kind of like a prediction based on the past 3 times that Saturn has been in Pisces. And I'll just read it to you guys. I think it's just really cool. It's a small paragraph. So Saturn sextile Jupiter and Taurus is also going to be happening during this Saturn in Pisces. So that's just, if you know what that kind of is, like, good. If not, it's not that big of a deal. So this will turn our attention back to the physical world. This harmonious connection could facilitate steps towards greater compassion and a sense of responsibility towards global suffering. One of the most forward-thinking moments in this cycle comes in March to April 2024, when Jupiter sextiles Saturn, and then Jupiter conjoins Uranus. Always a peak innovation cycle. Mm-hmm. Venus will join Saturn in Pisces from March 12th to April 4th, 2024, so the same time frame. In astrology, Venus is exalted in Pisces and Saturn in Libra. The movement of a Venus star point into Libra is a hopeful presage for this passage of Saturn in Pisces. And yeah, I just thought that was really beautiful. Like, I could see that in like the patterns of like the destabilization, building things up to break them down again, to build things back up to then break them down again. I could like just see that so evidently in what she was saying. And I thought that was really cool.
So
what do you think about that?
So Saturn will sextile Jupiter in Taurus. Is that what you said? Wow.
Yeah, and that's all happening a year from now.
Through its journey through Pisces. Yeah.
And at the same months, it'll conjoin Venus, which is like a nice strip of light.
I feel like with like the pattern of like building up structures and laws and then breaking them down is absolutely like a Saturn thing. And what came to me was like, when you were talking about that, was I feel like with Saturn in Pisces, there's going to be fear present on a collective level of the boundaryless emotional nature of Pisces,
chaos.
Of Pisces.
You literally just said a quote. You literally just said a quote that I read last night. That's very interesting.
Like,
yeah.
I feel like there's going to be fear around loss of control. That is very Saturn and Pisces to me. Saturn loves to control.
And have boundaries, but Pisces doesn't have boundaries.
That's kind of like the shadow of Saturn, is like to control, right? And you can control in a healthy way. But on a collective level, there's going to be like some chaotic fear around AI, because Saturn had just, because of Pluto in Aquarius too, like we can't ignore Pluto moving into Aquarius at the end of this month too, on the 23rd.
And like the way that Saturn just built that up to leave, and now Pluto's about to like come over and like
enter in and like do whatever it does and like revolutionize and transform Aquarius energy. And like, I personally am not afraid of AI. I think AI is going to be beautiful and a good thing for us. I think there's a lot.
I think it will be too.
Around it. I think there's a lot of fear around it that's kind of unnecessary, and you can argue with me on that. But overall, like, we can use it to our advantage.
I think you still, it's right now. There's no point in being afraid of it. It's helping marketers. It's helping people in many different industries like engineering. And
it can help you.
It's breaking the boundaries.
Faster. Yeah, it's like breaking down the limitations that we have right now.
But there are going to be like ways in which we should build a boundary if it is to keep evolutionizing, right? Like, as Aquarius energy wants to do, it wants to like just keep breaking the norm, right? That's what I also found. It's like Aquarius into Pisces energy is all about like reaching the point of having no boundaries. So Aquarius is like a step down from that, coming from Capricorn, where it's like building on top of something that's already successful. And then Aquarius just wants to rebel and like break it down even more for Pisces.
Okay, you know what and you know what I heard about Saturn in Aquarius is like,
Yes.
I think Chani Nicholas says this because I read it in my chart. It was like Saturn in Aquarius wants to know all the rules inside and out so they can break the rules, because Aquarius.
Exactly.
Because and then when you think about Saturn in Pisces, a boundaryless sign with a planet that is boundaries and time and restriction, like it's like is Saturn wanting to build the boundaries within this emotional nature, or like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like at what point does Saturn build its boundaries in Pisces? Because there's this like interwoven connection in Pisces, and like what kind of boundaries are built and what kind of restrictions are present with Saturn being there is like such an interesting question.
And that's why I found it so insane how like there's like this weird back and forth pattern of like destabilizing things, but in a way it's like Saturn will sometimes come in and build things up or break them down. It's like it's like one or the other. It's like either Saturn, but no matter what, it's always destabilizing. It's always like you're not really sure where your foundations lie. It's always that.
It's like kind of tower energy, like tower energy.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what else I just thought of? When I'm talking about like distilling or aging something, literally like the compound is being broken down and it's being transformed into a new compound or chemical. And like,
yes,
when something is being like alchemized in that way, like that's also kind of what Saturn does, but it uses time and patience as its alchemizing force rather than like fire, which like the sun can do or whatever.
Oh my God. I love what you just said. You just got to like the scientific level of what Saturn might do, or what it will do.
It always does. Level. Like the micro level,
but like it's
level.
Right, but like how do you figure that out in a sign like Pisces? Like what is that going to look like? Are we just all going to start floating?
Yeah.
Gravity will no longer exist.
Gravity doesn't exist. Yeah, it's like...
It's funny.
So if Saturn in Aquarius is very like needing to know the rules to break them, in Pisces there's like...
It like decides what it's going to do.
And it just decides what it's going to do. There's like a sense of freedom in creating discipline and in what it decides to like distill down. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it's always, it's like distilling either the powers that be down to nothingness or distilling what is needed and building it up again. Like,
we might be really aware, like really emotionally in tune with like what we need to move forward.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of like, not predictions, but just this, I follow this girl, Bahati Life. She's like my favorite girl ever. I've been following her for like 5 years. And she has this way of talking about kind of the future. She doesn't really do she does do predictions, but it's in a way that incorporates astrology and things like that. And she's been talking about seeing this kind of like future that has to do with kind of that Taurus energy, where it's like we're getting back to basics once again, to therefore care for the globe in a more like natural way, because we have had so much technologic like discovery and evolution that like what we're needing right now is actually to like bring it back around to
like the simplistic,
the basics of living. Earth-based basis, like the living, like, and she even said, like, I'm seeing, like, there could be, like, a lot of, like, people who become homesteaders, or people who make their own food.
I see that for myself.
Me too. Me
I
too. But
for
like, it's just,
myself.
it's so funny. I see that for myself too. And like, literally, like, in the next 5 years,
Yeah.
just
Like
having your own
garden,
resources.
garden, land. Like, I just think everyone deserves that. And I know
Yeah.
it's so hard. It's the access to that is unfortunately not where it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that has to do with Uranus too. Uranus and Taurus right now.
Yeah. How slow does Uranus move?
I think it moves pretty slow.
But like, is it
Slower
slower
than Saturn.
than, what'd you say?
I think slower than Saturn. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's between, because I think Saturn is the fastest moving slow planet.
Like outer
Nope.
planet.
Jupiter
Oh,
is
okay, yeah,
7 years. So Jupiter, then Saturn, then I thought it was Uranus after that, and then Neptune, and then
then
Pluto.
Pluto. I think you're right.
Yeah, so somewhere between 30 years and 250 years,
Yeah.
I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm trying to think of like when Uranus would get out of Taurus, and I think that it's not going anywhere.
I don't think it's going
Like,
anywhere anytime soon.
yeah, so
That'll be
that
big,
I
though.
do think, yeah, I think that will be a theme with this, like with Saturn and Pisces.
Yeah.
It'll be like a flavor of that because it's obviously like we have to take it into account the whole chart. So if like Neptune is also in Pisces, there's eventually going to be a Saturn Neptune conjunction, which will be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And then thinking about Uranus, it's like Uranus is
But
the
it's gonna
next one
fix
that we
that.
would be concerned about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I was born with Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn, and now it's in Taurus, so it's only moved like 5 signs or something since
Oh yeah.
since 1992. So who knows?
Yeah, it's so funny. So Neptune, you have Neptune in Capricorn, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. So
Oh yeah. I mean, it moves
that's
slow.
crazy.
I know. What else? What else are you thinking?
What else is brewing?
What else are you
Well,
thinking about?
I had this like really interesting experience with Jupiter conjunct Venus and Aries.
Oh, this past
Which-
week or on the first?
On the first. So on the first it was exact, but even like today I'm like still feeling just kind of
Oh
like
my
that
God.
energy.
Jupiter and Venus?
Yeah, so it was like Jupiter conjunct Venus in my sixth house, which is ruled by Aries. And it's just so funny. Like, the more I think about Aries in my sixth house, the more it makes so much sense. Like, like just working out, how working out and like exercise is ruled in the sixth house, and how like I used to go about working out. Like, I literally wouldn't take a day off, and I would be like, I
Yeah.
have to do this.
I didn't know
Like,
where
it's
that
just-
came from. I was like, where did she get that?
It all of a sudden like fell upon me in high school. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna be pretty much like, I'm gonna act like I'm in war right now and just like go to the gym every day.
Aries.
So Aries and like Mars energy. But yeah, so yeah, and then the more I say that, it's like I have Mars in Virgo and Aries rules my sixth house. So it's very like a
you have, like,
Virgo.
mutual reception.
Yeah, and it's very like like organized, stabilizing,
Yeah.
fucking fiery, and like boom, and just like it's like
cabinet.
I'm organized. Yeah, yes, like literally, I have a filing cabinet under my desk.
Do you?
Anyway,
Oh my God.
yeah. Oh my God, I'm so organized, and like I feel like it comes
You
out
are.
when I'm like because it's like Mars Virgo. It's like I need to like organize and like clean and like all of that.
Wait, you have Mars in Virgo.
I have Mars in Virgo, and then
my
my sixth
God.
house is ruled by Aries.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, that is that's very...
That's a
wow.
mutual. That's like that. I just feel like when that happens, your Mars Virgo energy is very powerful, and your sixth house,
Yeah.
like your
Yeah.
your Mars energy is very connected to your sixth house energy because of what's
Yeah.
happening in your chart.
Yeah. And it's the same thing you have with Aries and Cancer and the moon and Mars.
Wait,
You have
wait.
Mars in Cancer, and you have your moon... No. You just
Mars
have
in
one of them. I
Cancer.
think you have Mars and Cancer. But then you have your fourth house ruled by Aries.
Yes.
That's what it is.
So I would have a, yeah. I don't
So
really.
we both have Aries in like a mutual reception.
Right, and mine is with Cancer, and yours is with Virgo.
Yeah, Virgo.
Virgo? Mm-hmm. Wait, this is so interesting.
And water and earth are always trine or sextile. It's never a square or opposition
Yeah.
or
Right.
yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay,
Wait,
so
what was
anyway,
the thing? What
basically,
was the thing? Yeah.
yeah, so this Jupiter conjunct Venus in my sixth house in Aries brought in 3 income opportunities, like kind of all at once. And it was coming
Wow.
from
Stop.
2 things that I already, like literally, it's just like textbook, you know what I mean?
It's literally
So,
by the book.
yeah, by the book. So out of this conjunction, I am like going to be like this conjunction happened and like no matter what happens in these like negotiations or anything, like I will be kind of receiving more than what I did before, which is
Wow.
it's just that is
Venus,
textbook. So if you guys
bringing in that money.
yeah, so where is that? Well, if that's in your fourth house.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything like that
So-
happen to you?
It was exact on what? Wednesday? The first-
Yes, and also I should maybe clarify. The sixth house literally rules your day-to-day work. I don't even think we said
Yeah,
that.
we didn't
So
say that.
we're like, oh my god, sixth house. But
like, it's not a
sixth
book.
house, sixth house rules your day-to-day work, your health, things that like have to do with just labor and like day-to-day stuff. So it was just textbook. That's why we say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fourth house. What did that look like?
So this past Wednesday, when Jupiter and Venus were conjunct, there was something that happened, and I don't really remember it, but I do remember cleaning my house and like cleaning
Venus.
cleaning a lot of energy
Oh
out
wow.
of my space, and that opened up a lot of new
New space.
new creative energy for me.
Oh wow.
And I had a really great client session that day, and something else was that I met up with a friend, and we went to a coffee shop, and that was like a totally kind of unplanned thing, and it was really nice. And I taught my first class at a new studio.
Oh wow.
It was like a new space. Like I was in a new
Cool.
space that day, which is like fourth
Wow.
house. I feel like it has to do with like your home spaces.
Yeah.
And that place feels like home to me, that studio.
And like new opportunities, like literally new, like friendship. That's so funny. Venus, friendship, Venus, cleaning, Jupiter, more space, Jupiter, new opportunities. Wow.
Yeah, so that was my experience with it.
Yeah.
I
I
definitely felt
definitely
like
felt like the
energy of
beneficial
it.
thing.
Yeah, I felt like
Yeah.
a moment of like, wow, things feel good and exciting.
Yeah. And I heard somebody say, like, you might feel really happy. Like, it's just like this feeling of happiness and like elation.
I love that
So-
conjunction. I love Venus conjunct those, or like any like
Yeah.
Jupiter, Moon.
Right, Jupiter, but also I love it in Aries. There's something about Aries that just like will just like pop. Like it just I feel like anything with Aries, and maybe it is because my Mars and Virgo, but like it just pops. It like comes into my life and it's just like pew, and I'm like okay.
Yeah, it's very like palpable.
Yeah.
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 What else is going on? Wait, has it already been
man.
an hour?
Oh my god, yeah, it's like 54 right now. We're at
Oh my
54.
God. Wow. Well, what do we want to talk about next? Like, let's ask our listeners
Yeah.
What would they would love to hear in our conversation?
Us talk about.
Yeah, what do you want to
And
hear?
I think on Spotify I'm able to do a poll. So I will do that. So if you guys are listening on YouTube and you have something to say, you should head over to Spotify and go to this episode and do the poll. And we will figure out just from everybody's answers what would our best next subject be.
Yeah, and also if you have a question, we can answer it. We can make an episode where we answer people's questions. So we can start rolling in those questions too.
And how we would interpret somebody's...
How would we interpret somebody's something? That could be really fun.
Yeah, if you have a placement that you feel like you're just drawn to it every time you look at it, and you feel like things are affecting you in certain ways right now, even as if you're comfortable explaining what's happened, we can kind of give way to what that could be in your chart.
Yeah. That's
we could give mini little readings based on specific placements. We wouldn't want to go
not whole chart, but
all
specific. Yeah, because specific placements can just really be really powerful to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really fun. So definitely check that out and let us know.
Cool. So the next time we be meeting is on the not on the new moon, but right before fucking Pluto goes into Aquarius. So Pluto goes into Aquarius on the 23rd of this month. March is big. March is things are happening. Things are getting going.
Yeah. Yeah. So we could even talk more about Pluto, even though we talked a lot about that today, but I don't know, this month is just crazy. So we're happy to talk about all of that.
Take care of yourselves and drink water and stay awesome.
Hydrated and awesome.
I'm a hydrated woman. All right.
I'm a hydrated woman. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.